We're back now with Conversation Nation. Joining us tonight, MSNBC's Crystal Ball, political science professor Jason Johnson, and trial attorney Seema Iyer. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thanks for having us, Rev.
We start with Monica Lewinsky today. In an emotional speech, she talked about falling in love with the president and wanting to die enduring the humiliation that followed it. It's all part of a campaign she announced about ending cyberbullying.
Overnight, I went from being a completely private figure to a publicly humiliated one. I was patient zero. Around the world, this story went. A viral phenomenon that you could argue was the first moment of truly social media. I couldn't imagine ever showing my face in public again. I cringed, I yelled, I sobbed. And the mantra continued, I just want to die.
And then Lewinsky got personal about that scandal that made her a household name across the globe.
16 years ago, fresh out of college, a 22-year-old intern in the White House, and more than averagely romantic, I fell in love with my boss in a 22-year-old sort of way. It happens. But my boss was the President of the United States. That probably happens less often. Now, I deeply regret it for many reasons, not the least of which is because people were hurt, and that's never okay. But back then in 1995, we started an affair that lasted on and off for 2 years. And at that time, it was my everything.
Crystal, your reaction?
I mean, here she was 22 years old. She fell in love and she did something foolish. Who among us hasn't fallen in love and done something foolish?
With a married man.
Sure, and I'm not saying it's okay, but her life has been ruined, and that married man's life is just fine. I think it takes a lot of courage for her even now to come out, and I think a lot of women who are disproportionately attacked online, attacked in the media, will find a lot of courage from her ability to stand there in front of the stage and say, this is who I am, and I'm still here, and I'm still here to speak out.
Jeff, and I got to tell you, I teach these kids. You know, I teach 22-year-old college students, and they fall in love with all sorts of people. And this woman suffered tremendously.
I talk to people 42 that fall in love with her.
Exactly, for all the wrong kinds of reasons. And she suffered immensely so that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton could continue their political career. So I think she's got a really good point. I feel really sorry for her that she's had to suffer this long.
Do you have a violin in that pocket? Because I'm about to play the violin.
Her life has been ruined. She hasn't been able to get a job. She has no money.
She suffered so that their careers can
Monica
exist.
She represents the minority view here.
Thank you. She has not gotten a job because she hasn't made whatever effort to get a job.
Not true.
No, that's not true. That's just factually incorrect.
Her name has been played.
If you want a job, you can get a job. Where is
unless you're Monica Lewinsky.
Unless your last name is Lewinsky or Zimmerman. Look, this woman was going to have a lot of trouble trying to get a job after what happened between her and Bill Clinton.
She has a graduate degree.
So try to get a job there.
Well, let me raise this question. She is trying to do something about cyberbullying.
Right.
She put up a Twitter account, and in less than a few hours, she already had 30,000 followers. Can't she help with cyberbullying, given who she is and how candid she
shows some authenticity and takes some personal responsibility, so people.
What do you think she's doing there?
She already said, hey, I feel bad for what I did.
She's saying she was a private figure. No, she wasn't. She was engaging.
She never said she was a private figure.
In that clip,
she was a private figure. What you do in your office is what's in your office.
And she's being judged for the entire rest of her life for what she did when she was 22 years old.
And you're
She
saying
has a
that
graduate
22-year-olds
degree.
have no
She
personal
talked about in her
responsibility?
I'm
20
saying that
years
when you're,
later.
Yeah, I'm talking when you're 22 years old and there's some 50-year-old man spitting game at you, that woman had
And
no
it's the
chance.
president.
Bill Clinton had a
so let's talk
career
about
of seducing
her
and
parents.
occasionally abusing
Let's
women.
talk about her parents. What kind of parents were they?
What do her
that they
parents
did not-
have
What
to do
difference does
with
that make?
this?
She was out
The
of college.
parents didn't tell her that it was inappropriate to get involved with a married
Seema,
man.
no one
and
is
Bill
saying.
Clinton's
Hold
parents
on,
didn't
hold
tell
on,
him
hold
it
on.
was inappropriate to cheat on his wife, and he still did it.
No one is saying that it was okay what she
Well,
did.
she's not a victim.
She's
She's
not
coming
saying
across
it's
like she's a victim.
okay what she did. She is a victim.
She's
When
saying
20
right.
years
Suffer.
later her
Exactly.
life
So
has
I'm
been
saying-
ruined, do you think that her
I-
life deserved to be ruined for something
I
she did when
think
she
Especially
was
when Bill and
22?
Hillary Clinton have
It's
continued to be
her fault.
successful
For a
by
foolish
exploiting
mistake.
her,
I
by
think
turning her
she
into
has
this
not
bad guy or this
done
villain
enough
for 20
Wait a minute,
years.
to turn her life around.
I like the exchange.
That
but
is
let's
it.
listen to each other.
I mean, that's incredibly harsh. A young woman makes a mistake when she's 22 years old. By the way, the same mistake that Bill Clinton made, and he goes on to be perfectly successful. His life is perfectly
That's a
fine.
different
And meanwhile,
conversation.
she
Now you're
can't get a
talking about
job.
Hey, hold it.
Sexism and
She is
Seema,
an idiot.
nobody talk but Seema.
Whether Bill Clinton
All right,
has
that's
gone
enough.
whether Bill Clinton has gone on to succeed, it's a different conversation. That's
Why?
about sexism and his abilities.
That's
as
what we're
opposed
talking
to
about.
hers. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about taking personal responsibility, not acting like a victim, using your education, going out and finding a job, and stop blaming the rest
All right,
of your
let me
world
ask one
for your
final
problems.
question on this.
I can't believe that nobody
she
sees what I'm
help
saying.
with cyberbullying? though?
Yes, she
Yes.
can. She's
Why?
the first cyberbullying
Yeah,
victim
why?
out there. Everything about her, from her name to
Oh
her
my
face, it was
God.
emailed
I
around. There were Halloween costume masks made about this woman. If
Her-
there's anybody
her-
who knows about bullying, it's Monica.
Yeah, and her physical, I mean, everything about her body, about her face, about her was attacked. And whether other women have exactly the same experience or not doesn't undermine the fact that a lot of women are attacked in a similar way and can get a lot out of someone who has faced a lot for the
Seema,
past
can
20
she
years.
at least help with cyberbullying?
I'll give her that, Rev. Maybe now this is finally her calling. And I do agree that nobody deserves to be attacked for the way they look. I'll give everybody that
But you
much.
think she
But
should
that's-
live in shame for the rest of her life? or
I
something
think
she did when she
put
was
herself
22
there.
years
She
old.
put herself there. She put herself
And she's
in
taking
that
responsibility
position.
for that.
No, she is not.
Well, a lot of
She's
people in
crying and
politics
whining.
are having this conversation, and I mean, it's real.
Can some of them come here and join me, please?
If they can get a word in. Everybody stay with us. Up next, Serena Williams goes on the offense after some offensive comments directed at her. That's next.